Hi, everyone. Well, that front has been moving through right on schedule and dumping some very heavy rain. Haven't had a lot of severe weather. Most of that has been up to the north. We have had some, like I said, very hefty downpours and some very blustery winds. That's going to be the situation all day long. We will still have showers and some thunderstorms around, but they'll continue to work their way from west to east and clear out from west to east late in the morning. And then pretty much windy conditions, a lot more sunshine later on today. And we are going to be seeing temperatures get into the I'm going to do this again because I just noticed something. I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. Well, that cold front moved through right on schedule. It is moving through right on schedule and produced a lot of very heavy rain, some severe weather. Most of that, though, is up to the north of us. A little bit of light hail, but it's just the heavy downpours and the windy conditions associated with this front and some of these storms. And that's still going to be the case for the next couple of hours, but things will continue to work their way off to the east fairly quickly. So we'll still have showers and thunderstorms left over, especially to the east mid-morning. By noon, a lot more sunshine, 73 degrees. Very windy this afternoon in behind this front. Wind's going to be shifting around to the northwest, 15-25 miles per hour, gusting on top of that. And that is going to be the case even into this evening. Nice night to be out, but boy, take a jacket and hang on to your hat because it'll stay blustery overnight and even into tomorrow. We'll start off at 52 degrees tomorrow, up to 74. Really nice fall weekend. Actually, temperatures will be slightly below their respective normals. More clouds late Sunday. A lot of clouds around on Monday. Good trick-or-treating weather and another small chance for some rain by Tuesday. Yep. We'll kind of play it by ear. We may just do all wall stuff. I'm not sure. So, but keep the cube if we need to, because we got a hand track.
All right, if you're just joining us on the KSAT weather app or the KSAT app, we are starting our appcast now, and we're going to get you up to date on what's going on with the weather that we have going on moving into San Antonio. So we'll get on over to the radar. And again, if you're just joining us now, we can do this through the KSAT weather app and the KSAT app, and we'll track these storms for you throughout the morning. And if you have the app handy with you, we can stay on as long as we need to. So here's another look at the radar. And this is the latest here. We've got a line of storms starting to come through here in San Antonio. And this is what we've been tracking most of the morning. If you've been watching Mike on Good Morning San Antonio, these are non-severe. So that's the good news. This is just going to be some rain for us, but it will cause some wet roads. We've got Steven here in case we need to talk to him if there are any issues on the roadways. And we will get some lightning strikes out of this, some thunder, and it may affect you as you're heading out the door this morning to take the kids to school. If you're heading to work, we want to get you up to date. And this is the absolute latest live update here with these storms. Now, the strongest of the storms is moving across I-35 right around Divine. And Mike's with me here. Now, they issued a special weather statement, right, Mike, but no warning for this.
Yes, and basically it's saying winds in excess of 40 miles per hour, which are below severe level. Gusty winds, this is according to the Weather Service in the severe weather statement, could knock down tree limbs, blow around unsecured objects. And it is working its way to the east. It's about 11 miles northwest of Charlotte, working its way to the east at 55 miles per hour. So this thing is moving along at a pretty good clip, and it's dumping a lot of rain, as you can see there.
Sure is. So we'll pause the radar. It's this area where you see the kind of the hot pink color. That's where strongest of the storm is, and it's mainly rural areas, but it's starting to get closer to Highway 173 here. And what we can do is we can put on some of the storm threats and kind of see what is behind the storm or what you may expect. First, though, let's start with the rain rate. Mike was talking about the rain was coming down in buckets, and we can look at that rain rate there along I-35, and we're talking 7 inches per hour. Now, you're not going to get 7 inches out of the storm, obviously, because it's not going to sit there for an hour, but it will dump a lot of heavy rain, and I would imagine that's going to cause some minor flooding up and down I-35. If you're traveling south between Divine and Moore, it's going to get pretty hairy there. You're going to have to use the windshield wipers and put them on the highest level, because that rain's going to be coming down at that just really significant rate. And there was an update for you. So the heaviest of the rain now moving into Divine, a little closer to Highway 173 there. And let's look at the storm relative velocity. I like to look at that to see kind of what the winds look like. And we can look at some of the wind speeds, and we'll query here. And we're looking at 18 miles per hour. It's nothing too terribly gusty that I'm seeing here, but these winds probably will pick up a little bit more as the storm gets kind of cranked up. It looks like it's cranking up again. We'll go back to the radar and show you the latest. Clear that off of there. So yeah, the heaviest of the storm is right just south of 173. Again, this is not severe, just a strong storm, likely some very heavy rain, and we can't rule out a little bit of small hail mixed in there as well. But let me go up to San Antonio, because I know a lot of people are watching us from here in town, and the storms are just not quite here yet. They will be. Give it another 30 minutes, and the west side of San Antonio will be dealing with some of this heavy rain. We'll put the radar back in motion, and it's starting to move into Bexar County there. So Castroville, Medina Lake, you're getting the heavy rain right now. And again, this is not severe, just the way we like it. Just good rain. Hopefully, some of us will pick up a quarter or half an inch. I know that's not a lot, but it is something. It's better than the last go round. And Mike, any other updates as far as the National Weather Service is concerned?
No more updates, but the other one, and looking at radar again, a little bit further up to the north, up around Bernie, there's now a decent cell that's been developing up there as well, and a lot of light. There hasn't been a lot of lightning. That one cell that you were just analyzing earlier this morning, all of a sudden, really was getting a whole bunch of lightning going with it, but that cell now is starting to you can see those little purple spots right in there, and that's where some pretty hefty rainfall is coming as well.
Yeah, and this radar product does show us that maybe there could be a little bit of small hail with this, very small, but we can't rule that out with any of these stronger storms, and that's right in between Pipe Creek and Bernie. You may see a little bit of pea-sized hail. That's along Highway 46, just north of Highway 46 between Pipe Creek and Bernie. So that's kind of the nature of these storms, these non-severe storms. Small hail, very heavy rain, and then some lightning and thunder. And we were tracking some of the lightning strikes. We've had about 40 or so. If we zoom out some, and we'll take off the query here. You zoom out, you'll see that we have quite a few lightning strikes, but not just an extraordinary amount. So that tells us these storms, again, strong, but not necessarily severe. We're picking up about 14 strikes. So that's not a huge number, considering we've seen much more than that with storms rolling through San Antonio. And we'll put this in motion again. And I want to start looking at some of our far western reaches of San Antonio. So if you're watching us from the SeaWorld area or Alamo Ranch, you're starting to see the effects of these storms. You're probably seeing some lightning in the distance, and you're probably starting to see some light rain if you're watching us from there on the far west side. So Taft High School is right here. That rain is just on your doorstep. Culebra, as you get into Medina County, the rain is starting to come down pretty heavy now. And if you're watching us from eastern Medina County, yeah, the rain's already there, and it is pretty heavy at this point. Castroville, I'd say light to moderate rain there. If you're coming in on your morning commute along Highway 90 from Castroville into San Antonio, you'll run into some rain really all the way into downtown, because we're starting to pick up on some showers here right along 410 and Highway 90. Seeing a shower near John Jay High School. And I would tell you, school starts here pretty soon. I'm sure you're getting the kids in the car, they're already to the bus stop. Umbrellas, have them with you, because this rain's going to spread across the rest of San Antonio here within the hour, we think, as it continues to move east at a pretty good pace. Mike, is it about, what, 40, 50 miles per hour, this line?
A lot of, yeah, that one cell, according to the Weather Service, that one down there just to the southeast of Divine now, they said it was moving east at 55 miles per hour. But most of these storms have been going about 30, 40 miles per hour, that line, throughout the morning as they progressed across and developed, because there was nothing there earlier this morning. And then it developed pretty well. Yeah, it's individually, like I said, these very heavy downpours, and it's going to hit hard and hit fast, but clear out pretty quickly. The other thing, too, is most of these severe weather right now, we still have that threat, obviously, as you were talking about, for severe storms, but we've had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings north of our area, up in and around Llano County, Williamson, Burnett. There's another strong thunderstorm statement from the National Weather Service up there.
Yeah, it's up around Marble Falls and Austin.
But everything's been moving pretty much almost straight west to east. So again, that's been staying to the north of us.
Yeah. Like I said, this is almost an ideal situation. I know the timing's not good because we're on the roads and whatnot, but as far as not having severe weather and just seeing the rain, that's pretty much what we like around here. What I'd like to do is ask Stephen over here, who's been tracking traffic all morning. You seen any more issues, any rain on any of the TransGuide cameras?
See if we could check out this TransGuide camera here, Justin. I-10 at Bernie Stage. I noticed, I got off the phone with our friends at TransGuide a little bit earlier, and we noticed that there were some droplets out there. They have some wipers, so they were able to wipe away those droplets. But we did also notice some of the lightning in the background there as well. So you can see traffic is moving okay in the east and westbound lanes. But of course, we know those storms are moving in. But as Justin and Mike have been mentioning, this is nothing severe, but just something that we need. However, on the roadways, it could obviously lead to a very tricky commute. So you want to make sure that you take it easy out there. But let's go ahead and give you a quick look around town, because while we're keeping an eye there along I-10, everywhere else here in town is also looking pretty fine. 37 at South Cross, but the commute is getting going. So if you do have to perhaps maybe head out the door in the next few minutes, this is a perfect time to do so. Get the kids ready for school, and like Justin said, pack that umbrella. You're going to need that. But right now, the commute's not looking too bad. We did have one crash, at least here in town, along 37 at I-10 westbound, but it really wasn't causing any issues, and I'm not really too concerned about it. But we give you a wide look, and this is why you're going to want to leave early. It's that busy time. It's morning rush. A lot of folks are getting out there. Particularly, we're obviously going to keep an eye on the west as those storms move inward. But notice already 1604 US 90, those eastbound lanes, a lot of people are traveling into San Antonio from Castroville. So that area is going to be very busy within the next few minutes or so. And of course, we're going to have to watch that area closely due to those storms that are coming in. Unfortunately, we're not able to get a shot of the area out toward Divine over on the southwest side, and that is because there are no TransGuide cameras out there. But as we give you a look here at 35 at New Braunfels, it's still pretty light, and I'm just keeping a close eye on some of these TransGuide cameras. Not really picking up anything, but it does look like right over here off of I-10 at Bernie Stage, it's just getting a little bit murkier as the morning does get going, guys. But of course, we're going to be watching these roads closely, and thankfully nothing major reported just yet.
And Stephen, thanks for hanging around with us this morning. This Appcast is great. We're able to bring you the latest via your app. You can also stream us on KSAT Plus. The latest in digital technology here is what we're working with, and we just want to get you up to date on these storms as they work through. We're able to do it, and we love to do it. Mike's going to be cutting in here on TV here in just a second because we have our scheduled cut-ins during Good Morning America. When that comes around, you'll see Mike also pop on TV and on the app. But one last kind of update here as we look at these storms rolling in, and the Bernie area now really starting to get hit with that heavy rain. We see the lightning strikes. So these white lines represent lightning strikes, and we're getting quite a few of those right around the Bernie area. So some very, very heavy rain there. Fair Oaks Ranch, same story. With lightning and pretty heavy rain there along I-10. And then if you're watching from the city's northwest side, Helotes, you're starting to get the heavy rain now. So this is all unfolding as we speak. UTSA, you'll be next in line, seeing a little shower out ahead of the system there. Same story right around Chavano Park, getting a little bit of a downpour along 1604. And then random pop-up showers now starting to show up around downtown. So Stephen, I'm going to imagine, is going to get pretty busy here in a little bit because these roads are starting to take on some water, and we know what can happen when these roads get slick. And because it's been so dry, that light rain that we see out ahead of this mixes with some of the oils, and it makes the roads just slick. That's just the bottom line. But let's go back down to this storm here near Divine. And by the way, control room, if Mike needs to do his cut in on Good Morning America, just let me know. We'll step out of the way here. Sure.
Weather Service just issued another statement, and that's about the storm down along the southwestern Wilson County, talking about the storm moving across northern Atascosa County.
Yes.
And it's going to impact portions of Frio, northern Atascosa, southwestern Wilson, and south central Bear through 8 o'clock this morning, as we've been talking about. Moving to the east, now they're saying it's about 30 miles per hour in its eastward progress. Still 40-mile-per-hour wind, so it's just below that severe level, but that's enough to, take your Halloween decorations and throw them down the street, knock down some tree limbs.
Good point.
That's the only, really information about that storm, other than the heavy downpours. And these are the kind of storm that you're driving along, and all of a sudden, it's just going to, wipers on high aren't going to really help that much with these.
That's true. Somerset, we think the storm will be there around 7:23. Poteet, 7:35. Pleasanton High School, 7:45. Durden High School, about 7:40. So that gives you an idea of where these storms will be. They'll be crossing over I-37 probably around, I'd say, 7:40 or so. So if your plans take you south to San Antonio, or you're in these areas here in northern Atascosa County, beware. Again, not severe, but gusty winds. You're going to get maybe some small hail out of this, especially where you see these hot pink colors. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's a little bit of small hail in there. Not damaging hail, but small hail, and then some very heavy rain. And you kind of see this thing bowing out just a little bit. That tells us there probably are some strong winds in there. We'll keep an eye on that as it progresses off to the east. So we'll clear all this off, and we'll go back up to the San Antonio area. And yes, light rain is beginning to fill in here across the western half of the county. What I am noticing, though, guys, is we've got a little bit of a break in that line, kind of north of Castroville. I really hope that it fills back in, not with severe weather, but just some rain, because we need the rain. I think a lot of people have been hoping for this kind of rain. We hope that it fills up the rain gauges a little bit more than what I'm seeing here. It's not, doesn't look all that promising, to be honest. But as we look here around Medina Lake and Bernie, there is the heavy rain to the north, and then we mentioned that cell to the south. So let's get kind of a bigger view here. And you can see this is a line that stretches all the way down to Cotulla and then all the way up to the Austin area. But it's fairly thin here around San Antonio, except for this cell right here, which continues to kind of intensify a little bit, I think, as Mike was giving us some of the details there as this moves into northern Atascosa County. It's that area right there where we're likely getting some of that heavier rain and maybe some small hail. Let's check in on that so we can look at our severe threats here. And where you see that purple color, yeah, some small hail mixed in there. And that's also the case maybe just south of Natalia, and then back out closer to I-35 with this cell. And also, I should mention, while we're here, you can always send in pictures safely if you can take some pictures, or of the rain coming down, the lightning, the thunder. If you're hopefully staying indoors, but take the picture and you can send that into our KSAT weather storm pins, or KSAT Connect, I should say, and you can do that through the KSAT weather app. Mike, is it good in time for cut-ins?
Yeah, so what you'll see is I'm trying to pay attention to what's going on network right now, and then I'll get a cue. So if I kind of quiet down and stand here and look like I'm not going on, I'm waiting for my cue to come up. But if we could reroute, is it possible to reroute that? Okay, I've got a 30-second cue, so I'm just going to, let's see here. Why am I not able to move this right now? I've got to take this off. I'm sorry. There we go.
Yep, there you go.
Clear that out, and there we can move that out. So 15 seconds. If you want to have some fun, watch on your app, watch on TV right now and see.
Behind the scenes.
See how they time up. So 1 second. Good morning, everyone. Here's a live look at radar right now, and these storms continue to work their way to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Very heavy cell right down here in northern Atascosa County. This is working its way to the east, and we're going to see some very heavy downpours. Rainfall rates of about 6 to 7 inches per hour associated with this. You won't get that much rain, but once this hits, it is definitely going to be kind of some of that blinding rain. We've got a lot of just some light little speckly showers in and around town. So if you're hitting the roads, do take it easy. A lot of clearing and windy this afternoon. So that was the cut-in during Good Morning America. We have to do these after, if you are a regular watcher of Good Morning America, as we do all of these cut-ins through here. And then we'll have another cut-in coming up here in just about, say, 5, 6, 7 minutes. That's that longer 2, 3, 4 minute cut-in that we do here. So once again, looking at some of these storms, and this cell down here to the south in northern Atascosa County. This one's almost been kind of going, watching it this morning as it's been working its way across. It started to develop a little bit more, and it's almost been kind of weakening at times, growing at times, and it will continue to work its way to the east. And again, this thing may be producing a little bit of hail. It hasn't shown a lot. There's only been a couple little specks that have shown up here, and actually right now those are just the lightning strikes that are showing up there, but no hail is being reported with this as of right now. But again, we've been talking about the rainfall rates, and that's the thing that will really, again, heavy wipers, or wipers on high, I should say, won't really help out with some of these cells when they've got the rainfall rates that are coming down at, let's see what this is, right there in that light purple, 7.5 inches per hour. You don't get that much rain, but again, it's just the bucket being dumped. And this is also going back in, crossing over 35 right there near Natalia. Rainfall rates close to 5 inches per hour. So these are definitely, however you want to describe them, gully washers, anything like that. A little bit further up to the north, we still have some fairly decent downpours coming on in here, but not a heck of a lot. Yeah, it is fairly strong rain that's working its way just in toward, say, the Castroville area right there. 2 inches per hour. That's just a good, healthy downpour. And then, of course, there are some heavier cells up here around Bernie, Fair Oaks. These are coming down at the rate right there, right along I-10 of, let's see here, right about, say 4 inches, almost 5 inches per hour. So yeah, you're going out 10, you run into this as you drive on in, you're going to be hitting some fairly decent downpours. And it's the type of rain then that is going to, those usual kind of low spots. I know there's one on eastbound 10, near one of those curves, is it near De Zavala, kind of on the left-hand lane near the wall where water likes to collect. So in some of those little low spots, these are the type of showers that'll fill those up, some good runoff around here, some of the low water crossings very quickly. You'll be getting some of this rain as well, but it is, let's see here, let me go back to radar, and I'll tell you what, we're going to have to kind of pause here for a second because we do have our cut-in coming up here in just a couple of moments. So we will be doing network, we'll still be on live on the app, but we have to do our network cut-in as of right now. So Stephen's going to be taking over in just a second. So keep on there, stay tuned.
All right, time check is 7:23. You know, the headline of the morning is going to be the weather and, of course, traffic. So let's get you to it. I-10 over here near Bernie Stage Road. I've been keeping a close eye on this. Noticed a few lightning strikes in the background, but also as the moments have gone by, it just appears to get a little bit murkier. We also know that we can expect traffic to pick up around this time. We're keeping our eye as those storms are moving in. As you've been saying, this is nothing too severe, but just something to be aware of, especially if you have to head out the door, grab that umbrella. And there it is, those lightning strikes that we're talking about there in the TransGuide camera. Thankfully, we'll take you to the map, and you don't really see any issues out there. No crashes are reported, but what we are seeing are the slowdowns that you can see over here off State Highway 151, as well as 410 if you're coming in near US 90. So we're going to have to watch these areas closely throughout the morning. Again, thankfully, no incidents have been reported just yet, but right now, I would say is a perfect time to head out the door, grab that umbrella. Of course, we're going to watch the roads closely and have updates on weather throughout the morning. All right, guys. All right, that was just a look at the traffic. But yeah, guys, we noticed that there was a few lightning strikes in that TransGuide camera from I-10 up on Bernie Stage Road. You know, in terms of traffic, it's getting busier right now. So hopefully people are taking our advice there and getting out earlier. You can just see it if we could pull up that TransGuide camera for just a second. Wanted to show that because there were some lightning strikes out there toward I-10. But Mike, you probably have a different...
We're kind of doing two different things at once right here. And I'm going to ask it's kind of behind the scenes, ask the control room, do you want me here or over there for our cut-in? Right here. Okay, so they told me I'm going to be here at this is the green wall, if you will. And let me put these into motion right now. And you can see the rain continues on there. And yeah, some of those lightning strikes that Stephen was talking about, that's still definitely showing up. And was that on the northwest side you were showing that, Stephen?
Yeah, up a little bit further toward just outside of Bernie.
Yeah, right up there around Bernie. I mean, and as is evident on the radar. So we're going to be coming out on the air in just a couple of moments. I'm getting the countdown in my ear from the control room. We appreciate you downloading this app. And again, if you want to you can always watch radar, but this is our chance to kind of enhance that and add to it if you're looking at the radar and to see if you're planning out your morning what actually is going to be going on around here. I think as far as the timing of it, yeah. Oh, sorry, that was a 30-second cue. So, yeah, we hear voices in our heads, as we call it sometimes here when they're talking in our ears, because we kind of go and look off in the distance. But the timing of this, you know, yes, it's coming at a bad time as far as the morning commute. But had it happened really later on in the afternoon, probably would have had some of these stronger storms here. I'm going to be going on the air in just about 3 seconds. Good morning, everyone. Here's a live look at radar right now, and the line of showers and thunderstorms continues to work its way to the east. We do have some pretty good downpours, rainfall rates anywhere from 2, 4, 6 inches per hour. You won't be getting that much, but it's coming down hard and heavy, and some lightning strikes associated with this as well. And as you can see, the heavier storms will continue to work their way into the San Antonio area, and we're really going to have to watch out with this cell down here in northern Atascosa County, and that's got some very hefty downpours with it, maybe a little bit of hail, and that's the situation up around Bernie as well. This is moving along at a fairly good clip, anywhere from about 35 to 40 miles per hour off to the east. So yes, it's going to hit pretty hard, pretty quick, and then get on out of here, and that will work its way off to the east. We will have some fairly gusty winds in behind it later on this afternoon. Clear skies, 78 for a high temperature today, and then good looking night for football, but it is going to be windy. So we just finished our cut-in, and now it is back to what we call our appcast here. And what I was talking about is, yeah, the timing of this hitting right in the morning commute. Not the best time for it, but had it happened later on in the afternoon after things heated up, we probably would have seen more in the way of some potentially severe storms. Speaking of severe storms, there have been severe thunderstorm warnings posted up here just in the north of our viewing area, up to the northwest of the Austin area, in and around Llano and Burnett counties. They had some very strong winds, 60-mile-per-hour winds, some large hail, 1-inch diameter hail, and then also there had been some indications on radar of trying to be a little bit of a rotation in the atmosphere. Not that there was anything like a tornado, but there was that little bit of a rotation. Speaking of which, there is still and pardon me, that was left over there, that banner. But this is today, there's the leftover threat for some severe weather. Obviously, that's pretty much ended out to the west, and this may be modified by the Storm Prediction Center, but there is that small threat for something to be severe. And severe is 60-mile-per-hour winds, as well as 1-inch or quarter-sized hail, if you will. Obviously, if there would be a tornado to pop up, which is not very likely, that's also a severe situation. But again, I think the thing we're really having to deal with all of this is just the fact that we've got some very hefty rain, and there's a lot of it up here in portions of the hill country, those heavier downpours. And here in town, we keep watching what is going on with the rain now moving in toward the Lackland area. Just a few of those light scattered showers here, but more to come. And it does look like this is starting to, as Justin was indicating a little bit earlier, break up somewhat. I mean, you've got a decent cell right there. And then, of course, this one down here on the southwest side. And there's one more spot right in here where we've got a couple of fairly decent downpours as far as the rainfall rate. And so just kind of moving into Somerset, that really hasn't updated itself yet, but we are looking at rainfall rates in some of these spots. Let's say close to, well, that one's not too great here, but that spot right there, about a ½ inch per hour. And then you get over in toward Natalia, and that's where you get the really heavy downpours with those. So that's what we're going to be, the main threat, if you will, as far as the morning commute is concerned. Yes, sir,
and
Justin.
Mike, to that point, I just looked at the latest rainfall coming out of Bernie, a quarter of an inch, just like that. So we do know this rain is coming down at a pretty good rate. Okay.
So once again, this cell up here in Bernie, but notice how quickly that's moved on through as well as that continues to work its way out to these. So they hit fast, they hit very hard, very heavy, and then move on out of here. But, a quarter of an inch of rain in maybe a matter of, how long would you estimate that was, Justin? 15 minutes?
20 minutes at best.
So that would have been, almost an inch in an hour, and that can cause some, even though it's not a lot, the quantity-wise, that can cause a little bit of, low-lying areas, a little bit of flooding here and there, standing water on the roads, kicking up rooster tails, and that's going to be the situation especially right in here, right along I-10, Leon Springs, Scenic Oaks with some of these heavier downpours in here. Speaking of highways, Steven, you see any problems on the roads?
No problems, Mike, but 1604 Petrenko, I really want to see if we can get this shot at TransGuide because we do have some wet roads out there, as Mike was saying, kicking up some rooster tails there. You see it there. The roads are wet out over on the far west side. Just take it slow. Thankfully, KSAT has not reported any issues, so that's always a good thing. But we know that this is obviously a very busy time, but just take that in because vehicles along 1604, that's one of the busiest spots in town. So we always can expect to see some delays. And when you throw in some rain, it could make for a very tricky commute. But notice those north and southbound lanes near 1604. No delays just yet, but of course the roads are wet, and that's really what we're seeing around town. Now, what's really neat is I have about 20 cameras here to the left of me, and actually notice that seeing a few lightning strikes around town, so I want to put it back on rotation. 10 at Bernie, the roads are now wet over there. That's also another spot that we've been watching closely as the storms have been coming into town. But just again, no delays or any major, I shouldn't say delays, but no major incidents have been reported just yet. But notice those slowdowns. Delays are obviously going to be the big topic right now, and when that rain comes in, you have to be very careful out there. But I want to get you to the map and show you where we're seeing those delays along 410 near the airport at Crossroads, and then we also see it along US 90, and that's another spot that we have to watch very closely because a lot of people are traveling into the Alamo City from Castroville, and that's also where we can expect some of those storms to move in from. Northwest side as well, 1604, you see it up there near Helotes. You can find some slowdowns taking place, but we take you back to the map. You don't see any crashes, you don't see any stalls, really just going to be those delays right now. But that could quickly change if people are not taking it easy out there. There's 281 at San Pedro, another busy spot. 281 at the airport. Maybe a lot of people are trying to catch their flight right now, Justin.
Yeah, and this is not a shot at San Antonio drivers, but we don't get to drive in the rain very much. So we know that it can be difficult and there's going to be some issues out there. So just be Very, very careful. Okay, let's get back to the radar. And here is what we have going on now. This broken line of showers and storms is really starting to make its way into Bexar County. And I'm going to start zeroing in on some neighborhoods here. So if you're watching us from any one of these neighborhoods, you know exactly what's going on. So we'll start here on the northwest side. I-10 right at the rim area, UTSA. The heavy rain is just starting to move in. So we know, as Stephen will tell you, this is an area that is has a lot of construction. So you add some rain to it, that's not going to be fun. They're traveling along 1604. Gray Forest, you're getting hit with some very, very heavy rain. Lightning strikes here too. This is mostly just going to be good rain. I don't think there's any hail mixed in here. But just like Bernie, as we showed you earlier, they could pick up a quick 1/4 of an inch out of that cell right there. Let's go further south. We'll go down to the medical center area. The rain has not arrived just yet. You're seeing some passing showers, but the heavy stuff is not quite there. It is starting to make its way into Leon Valley, though. So if you're watching us from Leon Valley there along Bandera Road, yes, the rain is beginning to move in, the heaviest of the rain. And then Northwest Vista along 1604 on the west side. SeaWorld, rain is now coming down around Warren High School. You're now starting to get some of the heavier rain, and this will fill in here within the next 30 minutes or so. We'll continue to work our way south. Highway 90, 1604, heavy rain here. Stephen mentioned the commute along 90 is no fun. The rain is coming down very heavy. Windshield wipers are very much needed in that area. And down towards McDonough and Atascosa, Lytle, this is where we have the heaviest of the rain. This is the cell we've been watching. It's not severe, but it is strong. So we know it's going to produce some very, very heavy rain, maybe some small hail mixed in here, where you see some of these pink colors. Gusty winds up to 40 miles per hour and a lot of lightning. And this is affecting the Somerset area. And then as you get down along 16 down towards Poteet, the rain is just starting to move in. And Poteet, you're going to get hit pretty hard by this storm as it races east, limbing along 281 there next in line. And southern parts of Bexar County are getting this too. So Palo Alto College down to Mitchell Lake, rain beginning to fill in. We're also starting to see some cells right around downtown. So you see these little individual cells popping up, and these are just kind of quick rain showers that move right along, but they're along Roosevelt Avenue on the city south side, just south of downtown there, seeing some good rain near Mission San Jose. Pretty good rain shower there. So it kind of gives you an idea of what's going on, and we'll zoom out and we'll give you the big picture here as this line moves in. Divine, the rain is past you. Medina Lake, it's past you. Hondo, you're now behind this front. You're going to get the gusty winds. But, you know, one place I know, and we've gotten a lot of emails and social media responses from people in this area here. So Selma, New Braunfels up to Smithson Valley. This has kind of been an area hit very hard by drought. Feels like they've missed out on the rain several times this year. Well, it does look like this line's going to hold together as it moves in your direction. So you should get some good rain out of this, hopefully. And what we can do here is put the track on the storm and give you some timing. So we'll put our line tracker here, and we can put it right along the line. And we're thinking, nope, I messed that up. Let's try this again. One more time. Sometimes it's trial and error around here. Put the line. Nope, still didn't get it. One of these days. Here we go. Now, we'll put it at about 30 miles per hour. That's been kind of the average with these storms. And so if you're watching us from, say, Smithson Valley Middle School, 753. Bulverde, 741. Stone Oak's going to be about 738. It's already starting to get a little closer to Stone Oak, but it'll be there momentarily. We're at 738, so within the next 2 minutes or so. Garden Ridge, around 8 o'clock this morning. Universal City, around 8:05. So really the bulk of the weather here in San Antonio is going to be between 7 and 9 o'clock, I'd say. And then we'll start to watch some of our eastern counties, so places like Seguin, another area hit hard by drought, I might add. You'll still be in line to get some rain. These storms should hold together as they work their way east. Real quick, what we can do as well is start to look at some of the rainfall rates and total rain. Actually, I'd like to look at that. So we'll look at the 12-hour rainfall, and we can get an idea of just how much rain has fallen so far. So where you see some of these green colors, it's probably close to 1/4, half an inch, if I had to guess. 0.8 is what the radar is estimating down there in southwestern parts of Bexar County, maybe up to an inch in Atascosa County. That's fantastic news. And we'll take it up to the Bernie area, where we estimated a little earlier that it was about 1/4 of an inch of rain. That was what was being reported. And it looks like that's probably the case here. Actually, let me clear this off. go up. It's estimated 1 inch. I think that's probably a little high, but we'll see some of the ground truth there. And if you guys, Mia, by the way, is with us this morning, our newest meteorologist. She's working on some of the social media, so we got our full staff here working. Steven's with us, as you've seen, and Mike. So we're here bringing you the latest. But if you guys see any rainfall totals, or if you see anything that jumps off the page, please let me know. And same with you, Steven. If you're seeing anything that you need to update, let me know.
Will do. We
Okay.
do actually have a crash that popped up here just within the last few minutes. Yeah, if we can get a look around town, there are a few incidents already taking place on the roadways. So we're going to bring it over here to TransGuide if we can, because the rain is obviously coming down. We showed you I-10 at Bernie's Stage, where we're also starting to see some wet roads there along 10 at De Zavala. Not a good time to have any incidents pop up on the roadway because it is obviously a very busy time right now. Check out 35 at New Braunfels. We have to call our friends at TransGuide and get them on the phone. Slowdowns are expected. If you have driven through morning rush, you know that we are going to see those slowdowns. But as I mentioned, there are a few incidents that are taking place that you need to be aware of. So first one is we're going to bring you into the wide look at the map. Notice those slowdowns are taking place, but anytime there's an incident, anytime there's rain involved, it's going to make it even worse. So let's just go ahead and take you into one of those problem spots that we're already seeing. I-10 in those eastbound lanes at Huebner Road. A crash is causing some pretty big slowdowns for drivers. Those eastbound lanes of I-10, a lot of people are making their way into the downtown area. So you just have to make sure that you pack your patience this morning or look for an alternative route. This is what we were trying to give you guys some heads up about, a little with enough time to plan your commute, because a lot more people are out there, but not the only incident that we're tracking. Over here in the downtown area, not far from our station, 35 southbound at St. Mary Street, we do have a crash also reported, but those north and southbound lanes are seeing some delays. Want to get it back on that rotation here at TransGuide. Check out 1604 at Petrenko, 35 at St. Mary's, where we had that incident I just showed you. It's getting busier out there, and obviously we're going to have to watch these roads very closely, but when you factor in that rain, it makes it a little bit tricky for the commute. People may still be trying to get to work right now, so just make sure you have planned your commute ahead of time. This is something that we're obviously going to have to watch throughout the morning. We're going to continue to do that, but 35 southbound there at Main, slowdowns right now, guys.
Steven, thank you. Yeah, you know, the timing, again, not ideal. I know we're heading off to school, we're heading off to work this morning, so this is kind of coming at a time when it may not be so great, but the rain is so great to see. We do need it in the worst way. And you know what's, I guess, more or less frustrating is that we do have sort of a break in the heaviest of the rain, and it's right over San Antonio. So these areas, yes, it is rainy around Leon Valley and SeaWorld, but it's just not big time heavy rain. So we may only be looking at 1/4 of an inch there. Where you see some of these heavier cells, and that includes up here around Leon Springs, that's where you could pick up maybe a 1/2 inch, and we have seen some estimates close to an inch. So let's look a little closer at this cell here on the city's north side, Leon Springs, up to Fair Oaks Ranch, down to I-10 and 1604. This is where we're getting some pretty good heavy rain. And this stretches pretty close down to the 1604 area, and it's now starting to work towards Blanco Road. And of course, you got Timberwood Park up here, Stone Oak down here. Right now, it's just light rain in Stone Oak, but the heavy rain is just to your west. And so it'll be moving in quickly. And even around Johnson High School on the far northeast side there, we are starting to get some heavier cells along Evans Road, just east of 281. And it looks like we've got a pocket of pretty heavy rain there just to the east of Johnson High School. And then as we work our way south, on the southwest side of town, that is another area where we're getting some very heavy rain. So around Palo Alto College, and there along 35, that's where the rain is coming down in buckets. And it really is at its heaviest as you get down to 410 and I-35, right there at that interchange. It is very heavy now, and this is going to start to probably get a little bit worse. We can put it in motion here. You can see the heavy rain is starting to funnel in. It's there around Von Army and stretching south into Somerset as we speak. And this is an area where I think that we could pick up close to an inch of rain, maybe 3/4 of an inch. We can put the rainfall rates on there, and we can get a good idea of just how heavy some of this rain is. And where you see the purple colors, that's where the rain is at its heaviest. So that's showing 5 inches per hour. This is showing close to 5 inches per hour. And as Mike pointed out earlier, we've been saying, you're not going to get 5 inches because it's not going to rain for a full hour. But you may, if it rains for 20 minutes, you may be looking at close to an inch of rain, which at this point, I think we'll all take, as long as we don't have a lot of issues on the roads. And we'll put it back on radar. And one thing I think we do need to emphasize this morning is none of this is severe. We haven't had any really severe weather here around San Antonio. We've had a few warnings up there around Austin, but not here in town, and that's good. We don't want the severe weather. We just want the rain. And there along 281 is where this cell is kind of expanded a little bit, but it's really starting to fill in. So 281 south of town, Poteet, Pleasanton, Jordan, that's where the rain is pretty heavy. And starting to see some light rain around Elmendorf, and this is spreading along 410 on the south side. So this is gonna start to get pretty heavy, and all these roads will get wet. You'll see some ponding on the roads, and you know kind of the areas where you want to avoid. I know it's not a lot of rain, but here around San Antonio, we know there are some streets and some highways that just take on water, and there's nothing we can do to avoid it. So you'll want to avoid those areas in general. And Stephen, I'm looking at I-10 at Huebner here. What is going on there?
Yeah, Justin, I just called our friends at TransGuide a few times. We've been off and on the phone this morning, but just check out this shot. And we're going to go ahead and just bring it right to the wall. As you can see, we have a crash that's reported, but notice it's very difficult to make out exactly a clear shot of what's going on out there, because that's some of that rain that we're seeing. Unfortunately, it does look like it's causing a lot of issues there for drivers on the access road. Good news is those eastbound lanes of I-10, as you're making your way into San Antonio, aren't seeing so much of a delay, but a lot of folks are already getting the commute rolling right now. I want to take you to the map, and we'll start there. I mean, slowdowns are what you're going to see right now, and that's always expected with morning rush, but that crash was picked up along the access road. It looks like around I-10 eastbound at Huebner. Westbound lanes actually starting to see a little bit of a delay as well. I'm going to go ahead and step out of the camera here. I was talking to our friends at TransGuide because we noticed that as some of the areas that Justin was mentioning, we're starting to see some of the rain that's picking up. So, of course, we're going to have to watch these cameras closely. I'm going to see if we can go ahead and take it back to this TransGuide camera, and you can see maybe 35 at Von Ormy as we take it back a little bit there with the maps. Yeah, check that out. I mean, that's one of those spots that Justin mentioned, a lot of rain that's coming down out there. And this is one of those areas that, listen, a lot of people are making their way into or from the Alamo City along 35. So, rural spot in town, but you have to make sure you drive carefully out there. This is not necessarily some easy condition to drive in, but of course, we're going to get you through that commute. Thankfully, no issues are reported out there, but the rain is coming down. Of course, we're going to have to continue to watch other areas throughout the morning. We're going to just jump back to the map if we can for a second, guys, and we're going to bypass this crash we just told you about, get to another one right here near our station, 35 southbound at St. Mary's Street, where we do have a delay that's building up in both the north and southbound lanes there. But, you know, the rain is kicking up, and as Mike said, people kicking those rooster tails. So just remember to drive slow and make sure you have your windshield wipers that are working properly.
Stephen, I think you put it so well. Pack your patience, right?
Yeah, pack that patience with a cup of coffee.
That's the Stephen saying right there, and that especially applies this morning. Also, we want to give you some sort of a forecast here, because a lot of you, I'm sure, are asking, well, when does this end? When are we done with this? I think by 9 a.m. probably. A lot of this is starting to move out of San Antonio. So, in the lunch hour, we're clearing, and by the afternoon, we got clear skies. What about Friday Night Football? Fine. We're not going to see any storms, but it will be windy. It will be chilly. My advice would be to take a blanket with you, because temperatures will fall pretty quickly tonight, and that wind will make it feel a little bit chillier. But there is the latest, and this is kind of the cell we've been watching, the really, really heavy rain. So Poteet up to the southwest side of San Antonio, and we'll put one more track on it so people know exactly where it's headed. And I think Mike's got to do a cut in here in just a second. And man, I messed that up again. Let's try that one more time. We got 10 minutes till the cut in, Mike, is what Flowers just told me there. So. Okay.
And once again, you're talking about how we haven't had anything severe around here. Up to the north, there's still those strong thunderstorms. You know, Travis, Hayes County, San Marcos, Austin area, further on up to the north. So basically northern fringes of our areas where most of the heavier weather has been happening as far as anything severe with those strong winds and the hail. Yeah,
that's a very good point. They've had warnings up there, several of them. This is the latest track here on this particular cell that's kind of bowing out just a little bit. Bronick Lake 750, so we're talking next 4 minutes here. Elmendorf 757, Forestville 818, Lavernia High School 823, Poth 826, and Falls City 831. So if you're in any of those areas, there's kind of the time frame for you as these storms move in your direction. But we do want to focus on the commute here in San Antonio because I know it's messy, and it really, look at this, it's starting to fill in. So even the east side now is starting to get these pockets of heavier rain. The one area that's kind of dry, interestingly enough, is right around the airport in Alamo Heights. And this is where we get the official measurement for rain. So this may not be, whatever measurement we get today, may not be indicative of just how heavy some of these rain showers have been. But around Windcrest, we're seeing a cell there, Kirby, on the city's east side, and you'll start to see this fill in a little bit more. So they're along 410, up towards Ritterman Road, and up towards Windcrest, Mike.
You were talking about how the forecast and how things are going to be clearing out. Just some of the hourly observations that came in at 7 o'clock. Already clear skies are being reported. Del Rio, Laughlin, mostly cloudy skies up in Rock Springs. So, yeah, we will see plenty of sunshine today. But like you said, it is going to be windy.
Yeah, fair enough. Mia, did you have anything there?
Yeah, I'm just kind of taking a look at some of the rainfall reports out west that we've gotten in. Uvalde picked up over 1/2 inch with this. Sabinal just under 1/2 inch, about 1/4 inch up in Medina there, up that way. Actually, that's over in Medina County. That's just north of D'Hanis is where that rain gauge is.
Okay.
And then about 1/4 inch near Utopia out there as well.
Fantastic. So you're talking about these areas out here, and that kind of jives what we're seeing here with the 12-hour rainfall on the radar that estimates how much rain has fallen. And some of the heavier spots there around Bernie and then down towards Divine, Pearsall, but you heard some of the totals out west. Good to see that a lot of us, granted these aren't huge numbers, but a lot of us are getting in on the rain. And that is what we need so badly around here, is just some good rain. And I'm thankful that this is not severe. It's just what we call, well, I even hate to use the word nuisance because, hey, we want it, but it is affecting commutes and kids going to school and all those sort of things. So, yeah, the kids probably need an umbrella and a jacket this morning as this rain is still coming down in a lot of spots. But I will point out, 16:04 now. Remember just, 30 minutes ago we were talking about the heavy rain there. It has ended, starting to end. So the western part of Bexar County now already behind this system, and things will continue to dry out as we head throughout the course of the afternoon. And if you're watching us from here on the north side, Timberwood Park getting some very heavy rain right now. You see some of those pink colors. There is a small possibility that there's a little bit of small hail mixed in there. Have we gotten any reports of that, guys? I don't think that we have. It's been mostly rain, right?
Haven't been seeing any reports of anything. Nothing. No, nothing on KSAT, on the Weather Service chat at all. Again, everything focuses much further up to the north as we've been talking about.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, so this is probably just some very, very heavy rain there just east of Blanco along Borgfeld Road near Timberwood Park. The rain's going to pick up even more here within the next 5 to 10 minutes. So heads up there. And we'll go back down towards downtown, where it is starting to pick up a little bit. We mentioned there's kind of a break, right? So Medical Center down to Lackland, but there is a cell here that is starting to move into downtown, and this is going to contain some very heavy rain. We're not picking up on a whole lot of lightning with it, but starting to move a little closer to Jefferson High School, right along Culebra here, near Memorial High School, some pretty heavy rain. And then this is just passing by Holmes High School. The rain is starting to let up there. John Jay, same story, rain beginning to let up. And then along 151, we're still getting some pretty good heavy rain. And, that's the beauty of this radar that we have here. We can zoom in on your neighborhood and tell you exactly what's going on. And we just got an update right there. So now the rain is starting to get a little bit closer, is starting to fill in there around Jefferson High School and Culebra Road and Memorial High School. And Mike's going to be doing a cut in here in about 5 minutes. We're going to kind of do the changing of the guard here and get ready for that, because we're live for you on the app, but we're also have to do our live shots on air as well on TV. So you can watch us in both spots, at least for the updates, right, Mike?
Yeah, exactly. And, one spot where there's so much traffic around here, that's the infamous interchange with 35 and 10 right there. And some of these stronger storms are getting ready to come in here in just a couple of minutes. So just to put this into motion, as you can see how the rain is now working its way across 10. And we're still seeing a lot of it further on up to the north and up there just in northern Bexar County. And the nice thing, too, is a lot of these storms, even though it seems like some of the heavier ones have been further on down to the south, there has been a fair amount of rain that has gone through portions of the recharge zone. So anytime anything, and again, like Justin has been emphasizing, we'll take anything we can get at this place at this point in the game, but some fairly decent amounts there have been going through the recharge zone, so hopefully that's going to be helping out the aquifer as well. But just a kind of a big picture, the broad view of all of this, and how in relative terms, when it's coming down on top of you, it's coming down in buckets, but that's a fairly narrow band of rain that has been moving on through. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, that timing-wise, yes, morning commute right now. Hopefully a lot of people kind of heeded our advice as far as leave earlier so you don't get right into the throes of this. But we didn't get a whole bunch of really severe weather. There is still that slight threat, and I think high winds are going to be one of the biggest threats with that, but most of it has been further on up to the north of us. You got anything going on? Is that still, that was over there at 10? Yeah. Where there's the backup?
We still have a few backups actually taking place, Mike. If we want to take a quick look at one of the incidents that we're tracking right now is over here at 410 at Jackson Keller. Thank you. Let's go ahead and get a wide look. Yeah, we are going to see those backups, but anytime we see those flashing lights, it's going to make it a little more difficult to navigate through. So watch for those first responders. The roads are wet in most parts of town, as we were just mentioning. TransGuide cameras, let's get you on a rotation here, and you can see what the commute is looking like. If you're still at home, maybe you plan to head out in the next few minutes. 410 at Culebra. We are seeing traffic building, and of course those wet roads are spread out. So that's keep that in mind if you are going to be traveling. 281 right there by the airport. It's mighty busy right now, I would say. And of course, US 90 at Couples, one of those spots where we see a lot more traffic that comes in. You can see in both the east and westbound lanes, we have a lot of traffic moving into and from the Alamo City. But let's get you right to the map here, because some incidents that we are tracking. First one will be right here along a pretty busy spot, 35 northbound at US 281. A crash reported there. And I've been off and on the phone with TransGuide, so we're working to see if we can change some of these camera shots, get you a view of some of these conditions, because they're quickly changing actually and clearing out. And still have this issue along the access road at I-10 eastbound at Hebner Road. But of course, we are seeing those slowdowns along east and westbound. So just watch out for those first responders. But we get it back here on TransGuide, and there it is, 10 at Hebner, where we do have some wet roadways right now. Of course, we're going to have to watch these areas closely throughout the morning, and we'll have those updates. But Mike, I'm not really seeing any major incidents. But like you mentioned, maybe some people did heed our advice earlier, and maybe have already arrived to their destination. But we're, of course, going to have to watch the roads throughout the morning.
Yeah, which is good. And you were showing a lot of those TransGuide cameras, and it is coming down hard enough to where it's, especially you go past a, 18-wheeler and you're going to be getting all that spray in some of those low-lying areas. Just that kind of little dip in the road that always takes or holds the rain a little bit more. And with the sun, obviously cloudy skies, it's sun, we're not seeing good sunrise, but it is starting to lighten up a little bit. So hopefully you can kind of see some of those little spots. But had you waited maybe to run your errands, they had probably good, it's a good thing that you did wait right there, because we are starting to see things kind of come to an end out there in western Bexar County. But once again, I just looked at the latest observation. Now, this was from the top of the hour there out there at the airport, and still at the airport, it's just reporting cloudy skies, no rain as of yet. And like Justin was talking about, a lot of the reporting stations may not have gotten that much, but some other spots did. We're going to just hang on a second there, and we're going to do our cut-in very quickly live on the air.
All right, time check. Let's get a look at the roadways. It's 7:55 or 7:56, I should say, 410 at Broadway. We do have some wet roads out there, so be prepared if you are still at home and you have to head out in the next few minutes. But just notice that we have a lot of traffic already picking up, and obviously anytime the roads are wet and we have a lot of vehicles out there, it does make for a pretty tricky commute. So thankfully, some of the issues we're seeing aren't really scattered throughout the Alamo City, but we have about two that we're tracking. And the first one right here along 35 northbound as you approach 281, be prepared. A crash has been reported in that area, and you notice that there's a buildup out there as well, an area that we'll have to watch closely, especially if you're traveling up 37. You will also see a delay there if into the Alamo City. But quick drive over here, I-10 eastbound at Hebner Road. A crash still reported along the access road, but both that eastbound lanes, we're noticing a little bit of orange building up. So if you're making your way into the Alamo City from I-10, expect some delays. But Mike, we get a look here at TransGuide, a lot of wet roads out there and a lot more traffic.
And here's a live look at live cam, and you can see looking off to the east, it is just murky looking, but maybe the roads, yeah, they're starting to get a little bit damp out there by the airport. We've been watching this front, which computer models and even going back to yesterday, the timing of this was almost perfect. Not as far as the morning commute is concerned, but it came through right on schedule. And as you can see, it's a fairly narrow band of showers and thunderstorms. Now, obviously, we've got some very hefty downpours, especially in the southern half of San Antonio, southern half of Bexar County. We've been watching this one particular cell, which is now about to work its way into Wilson County. That's dumping rain at the rate of about 6-7 inches per hour. And as you saw on some of those TransGuide cameras, that we've got a lot of water on the roads, a lot of spray getting kicked up, but things are definitely starting to clear out back out here to the west. Temperatures have been staying fairly steady in the mid 60s all morning long, and actually further out to the west around Del Rio, Brackettville reporting a lot of clear skies right now. So we will be clearing out later on this afternoon. Winds are going to be picking up. We'll have a high temperature today of 78. It's going to be cool and windy tonight. So that was our cut-in, folks, on the air, and we are going to then on the air obviously go back to Good Morning America at the top of the hour, and then we'll be doing another one of these cut-ins. I'll be doing a couple of them, one about 8:15 on the air, and then one again about 8:20, about 8:26 or so. But back to what's going on here as far as radar. Just to kind of recap, if you are just joining us right now, this line of showers and thunderstorms was early when I got into work about 3 o'clock this morning. There wasn't hardly anything out there. There were some showers and storms way out in northwest portions of the hill country. And then the line started to fill in, and it's been working its way to the east at a fairly decent clip, anywhere from some estimates about 30, 40 miles per hour. At one point, there were some estimates that some of these cells were working their way to the east at close to 50 miles per hour. We have had some fairly hefty downpours. Some of these rainfall rates, such as in this cell right here, this one spot that's kind of at the tri-corner area of Bexar County, Atascosa County, and Wilson County. That's been dumping rain at the rate of about anywhere from 6-7 inches per hour. As we've been emphasizing, you won't get that much rain, but you can get a quick quarter, half an inch perhaps. That was the situation up around Bernie. Picked up about a quarter of an inch of rain in a matter of just a few minutes, maybe 15 minutes or so up there. Up to a half an inch in Bernie? Yes. Okay, up to a half an inch in Bernie. Let's check that out and see what's going on up there. Well, look at that now. That's the latest count up in Bernie. Now, a couple of more little cells are moving on through, but the heaviest amount has worked its way off to the northeast of there, around Bulverde, up around Canyon Lake, and it continues to move at a good clip. So, yeah, good news, bad news. It's not a ton of rain, but had these cells been moving a lot slower, then we would have gotten a lot more in the way of some flooding if they just sat in one spot. So at least it wasn't a too much type situation all at once. So we still have a couple of these leftover little straggling showers in behind over there around Lake Hills and around Medina Lake. And it does look like now finally, let's get over there toward the airport. Are we finally getting some rain being reported out there at the airport? Yes.
Close to 1/10 of an inch now, a little over 1/10 of an inch now at the airport.
In that short a period of time, because look at, nothing was there just a few minutes ago, and now the rain has come in. So fairly hefty downpours there around the airport, but that's not going to last all that long. And this is going down 281 coming into town, and then keep going on down. And then you get some of these heavier cells, even a couple of good spots right here. Just in and around 37 on the southeast side of town, almost in toward 410. And these are some pretty good downpours right there. Some of those rainfall rates, let's check that out very quickly here. And again, we got to emphasize this doesn't mean you'll be getting this much rain, but it hasn't really updated yet on this. But even there on the far south side of town, some of these rainfall rates have been coming on in here. Estimates of about 5 inches per hour. So that will come down hard and heavy in those low-lying areas that are the ones that tend to hold water, maybe a ditch, a creek, something like that. Those will flood over fairly quickly. And elsewhere around the area, as far as what is happening with the rainfall, it is starting to come to an end out in western portions of Bexar County. And then we've got this one heavy cell. This is the one that caused a little bit of concern earlier this morning. As you can see, there's some pretty good lightning strikes in there. It tended to kind of get a little bit stronger at times and then weaken, but it never did become severe. All of the severe weather this morning has been well up to the north of us, up there in and around the, let me just zoom out, make it a little easier here, up to the northwest of Austin and around Llano, Burnett counties. There was some very strong winds, up to 60-mile-per-hour winds, and also large hail. And that's what prompted some of the severe weather. But as you can see, there was that severe thunderstorm box that was posted earlier this morning that was allowed to expire. So all of this will continue to move its way off to the east. Again, fairly good clip. We're going to get some decent rain. I mean, you've had the whole swath of good rain moving all the way through Atascosa County with no breaks in that line. So at least you're going to be seeing a good quarter, half an inch of rain, and this will continue to go off to the east. And the one thing, it had seemed like that the timing of this over the past couple of days was kind of moving back a little bit. Initially, it looked like it might have been, say, late last night, and then it started moving back somewhat. But now, the one thing as far as the timing of it moving on out of here, that seems to have been pushed up somewhat. So now it looks as though, well, as is the case there in western Bexar County, rain is already starting to end, and we will see and have been seeing some clearing well out to the west, and we'll also see some very blustery winds today. So we're going to have winds gusting about, say, sustained winds about 15, 25 miles per hour, some gusts 30, 35 miles per hour. Yes, sir. Justin.
And we're already starting to see some gusts around that number out in Del Rio. And Mia just let me know that there's now a wind advisory for our western counties, and this is going to go for later today, gusts up to 40.
Okay, gusts up to 40 in some of our western counties, and hopefully, well, there wasn't, like we've been talking about, a lot of rain out there. So one thing we're going to have to watch out for is the fire danger. We had that grass fire a couple of days ago in southern Bexar County, and so fire danger is going to remain very high. It's nice that we did have a little bit of rain in some spots, but there wasn't really a heck of a lot out to the west of us earlier this morning before this line of rain started developing. So that's going to be the problem, is the gusty winds out there, and it's going to stay very breezy overnight into the evening hours. We've been talking about football games tonight, and yeah, definitely take a jacket because temperatures will top off in the upper 70s later on today, and then it will be chilly this evening, and with those winds and some of those clear skies out there, nice fall evening for football, that's for sure. And then it's also going to stay on the windy side tomorrow. Just kind of jumping ahead a little bit in toward Halloween, it's going to be pretty good. We're looking at maybe a few more clouds hanging around here, but temperatures are definitely going to be comfortable. Not too hot in your Halloween costumes, kids, and that's going to be all the way in through the evening hours. Then we are going to be seeing, and there we have the wind advisory. This is up until 7 o'clock tonight. This is for our western counties. Again, winds are going to be gusting about 40 miles per hour. This includes Rock Springs, Del Rio, down toward Eagle Pass, and elsewhere we're going to have very strong winds, but out there to the west. And then again, like I was talking about, on top of that, haven't had really a heck of a lot of rain. And that's not only just today, but obviously it seems like in forever we haven't had any rain out there. So the fire danger is definitely going to be high. And really anywhere, even though we did have some rain here in town, you just got to really be careful because all of this rain, since the ground is so dry, is just going to be, it's going to be like a dry sponge just soaking all this in. So by tomorrow, it's going to be breezy again. Will probably remain with a higher fire danger around here, but then the winds are going to be easing up. Temperatures tomorrow with this nice front that's moved on through here are going to be staying slightly on the cooler side. We are going to be seeing temperatures that will be in the low 70s, low to mid 70s for highs in the afternoon. We're going to be starting off. We're trying to get all of our graphics going here behind us. So
I'm going to get it pulled up for you, Mike.
Bear with us. No, that's fine. That's fine. We've got some of the KSAT Connect pictures, and that also really helps us tell the story quite well. First of all, here's a shot with live cam over there right around the if you can advance that for me, if you don't mind, Justin. I don't have one of the clickers. We have all these different clickers that we have.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of like all the clickers on your coffee table. You got one for cable. You used to have one for the VCR, the DVD. Did I say VCR? I just did.
Wow.
The DVD player. Mia's over there going, the what? Anyway, look at this. This is over there up in Bulverde, and rain gauge, boy, that's what, 2.5, a little bit better than 2.5 inches of rain. That is just, I mean, that's the blessing and a half. That is absolutely gorgeous. So if you do have some of these KSAT Connect pictures, we love these because, you know, we've got the reports that come from, you know, the various stations there. We've got the estimates on radar, but what really tells the story in your backyard is those rain gauges. So please, please, please send those in. All right, once again, so that was up around Bulverde, and how quickly the rain has moved on through here. So that 2.5 inches came really, really quickly because in a good portion right up there on 281, most of that has moved on through. Still getting a lot of rain in and around Smithson Valley, and even further off to the north and west. We've got a couple of these little cells, so even though the main line is moving on through, we still have a couple of more of these cells. This is going to help in and around Pipe Creek because this looks like it drains in toward Medina Lake right there, and like we were talking about in portions of the recharge zone. But Bernie, you're going to be getting some more of this beautiful rain up here, and this will move across northern Bexar County, southern Kendall County, up into Comal County. Yes, sir.
And we have Storm Chaser out and about. I do believe we can take that shot.
Okay.
I know I'm kind of springing this on our control room there, but at some point, if we can take that, guys, we can get a shot. There you go, right there.
Okay. Do you know where?
I believe they said this was I-37 and 410.
Okay, I-37 and 410, so they're on the south side of town, and this is where some of those heavier cells have been moving through, and as you can see, it's still coming down pretty good, although I don't think this is the heaviest of the rain because you can kind of see some of those street lights there off in the distance, but it looks like the wipers are definitely on high, and yeah, it's just a good rain. Traffic is moving along fairly well, not a heck of a lot of traffic there, down around 37 and 410, but enough.
And I got another picture for you, Mike.
Okay.
This one's kind of a different angle. It's not the rain, but it's actually looking at the rain from Bracketville, which is pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
This is from Alamo Village, Texas, but the sunrise is facing east from Bracketville. You can see the storms in the distance.
That is fantastic. And notice, and there's the case we were talking about, how things are clearing out so quickly off to the west in some of our western counties. And that one shot, I think we had one of the live cams around town also maybe showed a couple of breaks in the clouds around here.
It's entirely possible. You know,
Yeah.
we can pull up.
Well, this is 410 and I-10 right there. Yeah, and as you can see, we do have a couple of breaks in the clouds. We still have some of the rain clouds around here and some of the storms still coming on in. So here's the perfect example of that. So we were at 410 and I-10 right in here, and that's where things are now starting to maybe kind of come to a bit of an end. We'll still have, you know, that one little hole in the clouds is not going to last all that long, but just an indication that everything continues to work its way off to the east. Rain went through the airport, picked up, I believe Justin told me, about 1/10 of an inch very, very quickly out there at the airport, but now that is starting to come to an end.
Looks like we picked up a total of 16/100 of an inch.
16/100 of an inch, so that adds to the roughly 8 inches, puts us, I think, just over 9 inches now officially for the year out there. Obviously, the official numbers, the official tally is going to be coming out once they check that. But
and I think if you add that in with last night, we're looking at maybe 2/10 of an inch total.
Okay.
Not great, but it is what it is.
Take anything. Puts, I believe, our yearly total just over 8 inches. I think I had it written on my forecast sheet over there. And then it's still almost 19 inches below where we should be. That's officially out there at the airport. Some clearing out to the west, and here we've got some more of those thunderstorms right there, or not, excuse me, some of those heavier downpours, not thunderstorms. There hadn't been a lot of lightning with these. We do have some up there around Canyon Lake, up around Wimberley as well, and most everything sliding to the almost looks like more of a northeastwardly direction. Everything, the whole line appears to be working its way straight to the east, but the individual, excuse me, wrong direction with my hand sweep there. The individual cells are going northeast. The whole line is working its way to the east. Folks down here, right around Floresville and Pleasanton, you are now starting to see some of this very heavy rain. So, yeah, right across 37, Floresville, Poth, Pleasanton, you've just gotten some of these heavy downpours. This is the one spot, and it's this cell that has really been holding together quite a bit throughout the past couple of hours, and we still have some of those heavier downpours right there, and those are the ones that will be moving through Floresville and Poth right there in someone's hometown in Floresville.
Shout out.
Shout out to Floresville from Mia. I want to check in with Stephen very quickly and see what's going on the roads. Anything big out there?
You know, Mike, it is getting busier. Yeah, we have some issues that you want to be aware of. I was just checking some of our maps and TransGuide cameras, but let's give you a quick rotation. 410 at Culebra. You can see traffic is getting busy, but also in some areas it looks like it's quieting down. And what I love to see there, 281 at San Pedro, as vehicles are approaching that curve, they're driving slow, which is good. You want to do that at any time you approach a tricky curve like that. But US 90 is one of those problem spots. Let's just get you to the map, talk about what we really have been spotting and trying to keep track of. There was a pretty big slowdown in both the north and southbound lanes of I-37 that was riding around near Crossroads, but traffic is picking up. You saw our storm chaser that was out there and the rain was coming down a bit, but looks like it's moving just fine, 53 miles per hour. So just slow moving traffic out there, nothing too concerning. This crash looks like it may have cleared off of 35 northbound at 281. However, we see a lot of delays still in the area as you approach the north and southbound lanes, probably near 281. So just watch out there. But also another area that we are tracking. This is a new one that I'm trying to get our friends at TransGuide to see if we can get a shot of this. A rollover reported actually off US 90 in the westbound lanes, not far from 410. So just watch out in that area. I did notice some flashing lights, but I'll get our friends at TransGuide on the phone to see if we can get that camera on a rotation. Let's take a drive up over here where we still have this crash that's being reported along I-10 eastbound at Hebner Road. Scattered issues, I would say, is what we're starting to see now that the commute is getting going. Giving you a wide look at the map, though, we're not really seeing a whole lot of slowdowns, actually. I'm really surprised to say that, but maybe it's because people took our advice, which, you know, we'd love to see. But let's get it back here on TransGuide. 281 right by the airport. I know earlier we didn't see any rain out there, Justin, but that looks like it may have changed.
Yeah, the rain is, yeah, as we look at light cam there around the airport, it is still coming down. Not as heavy as it was, but we're still getting some pretty good rain there. And Stephen, by the way, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Stephen's great, stays in touch with TransGuide and keeps us up to date as all of these traffic incidences unfold. And as we look at the live radar once again, and you know, we don't want to belabor the point, but this is the beauty of being on what we call our appcast. We can be on your KSAT app, your KSAT weather app, and we're not cutting in TV. So if you want to watch Good Morning America, it's there for you. But if you want to track the storms with us, we're here for you, and we're doing it this morning with the latest. And this is just one of those situations where it's just rain coming across San Antonio, and it is impacting the morning commute and kids heading off to school, although by this time they should be at school, right? That has happened. That ship has sailed, so hopefully they're there safely. And as we look at, again, the big picture here, this line is really progressing in the eastern parts of Bexar County and now moving into Wilson County. I would say the heaviest of these storms are now in Wilson County. So let's talk to the folks that are watching us from Floresville and Poth. Yes, this heavy rain is moving in as we speak. You see these white lines here. Those are the lightning strikes. And there are a few, not a lot. This isn't super electrical, but yeah, we are getting lightning with these storms, no doubt about it. And we'll put the storms in motion here. And you can see that, well, now with the newest update, the rain is there in Floresville, and it's only going to pick up here over the next, I'd say, 15 minutes, actually really 10 minutes or so. And we can also go ahead and put a track on this line and give a heads up to folks that are out ahead of it. And we'll put it at about 30 miles per hour. This is what we've been sticking with most of the morning as far as the speed of these storms. So Falls City, 831, that jives with pretty close to what we were looking at last time. And then Karnes City, 853, eventually Cuero and Yorktown, you will also be in the path of these storms. And so far they've behaved themselves. We haven't had any severe weather. This has all just been rain, lightning, maybe some small hail, although we haven't had any reports of that either. In Bernie, which picked up about a half an inch of rain, you're seeing another little piece of energy come through, showers, and probably not any lightning strikes with this. This is probably just moderate rain, but it'll move through. And once that passes by, you are done with the rain. Canyon Lake, I know that's another area that's been begging for some rain, and we are getting some good downpours there. Right around the lake itself, Startsville, you're getting some rain, and this is starting to shift out. So the heavy rain starting to shift out, and you'll be dealing with some light rain probably for another half hour or so before it completely clears. Same story for Smithson Valley. Bulverde, the rain has ended for you. Garden Ridge, Selma, Schertz. Let's zoom in here because this is an area that is also getting some good heavy rain as we speak. So around Bracken, 1604 here as it runs into I-35, Nacogdoches Road. There's some heavy rain right around Madison High School. And then up I-35 towards Shirts. Yes, the rain is fairly heavy. Where you see those reds and oranges and yellows, that's where the heaviest of the rain is at this hour. Now in New Braunfels, this is another area where we've heard a lot of people say that they've missed out on the rain, and they certainly have. I mean, if you look at the rainfall total for the year, this is kind of an area that has been just more or less in a hole. But the rain is headed your way. We've got some showers and storms probably about 15, 20 minutes away from you, as these are kind of tracking east-northeast, as Mike said. So this stuff coming up from Garden Ridge should eventually make its way up towards New Braunfels and give you some rain. It's not going to be a whole lot, but it is going to be something. And Mike is coming back.
Got to do a quick weather cut in here. And good morning, everyone. Here's a look at live camera right now, and as you can see that we had a little bit of clearing out there. We still have plenty of rain around the area. The line of showers and thunderstorms, though, is working its way to the east very quickly, so it's already come to an end in a lot of spots. We're seeing some clearing well off to the west. Still a few cells here and there, even moving in toward Bernie right now. And we're also going to be seeing some very blustery winds. We're seeing wind gusts already out to the west, about 35 miles per hour, 78 for a high today, and windy tonight. Okay, and that was our live cut-in. We're going to have another one coming up here in just a couple of moments, and we will continue to track this for you. And yeah, like you were talking about, Justin, this is a great way to, if you want to watch Good Morning America, do that. But we're going to keep you updated with this. Again, overall, we haven't seen anything, even though there's been the threat for severe weather, or there was the risk for it, according to the Storm Prediction Center. We haven't seen a lot of that. Just the heavier downpours around here, and for the latest has been down around 37, and this is that line. That's a fairly decent, we were talking about how right there going across Atascosa County, all of this nice heavy rain is moving through Pleasanton, Jourdanton, Floresville. Poth is about to get this as well. I want to show you very quickly on what, as far as some rainfall estimates as all this went through the area and over the past 12 hours. And yeah, a lot of folks saw some rain. Now, this is just the reason why it's cut off there is this is the radar out of New Braunfels, and there is obviously a limit to it, but most of it obviously was on the light side. Some of the green areas have been, let's just take a couple of views right here. Northwest Atascosa County, just over an inch of rain. And this is an estimate from radar. And then down there, just to the south of Pleasanton, about an inch of rain on the northwest side of Bexar County. About an inch of rain. Then a lot of the kind of the bluish areas, we're looking at a tenth, maybe quarter of an inch of rain. So yeah, it hasn't been a lot. There have been those pockets, especially up to the north, and then this one band that has moved across throughout the course of the morning. It is a welcome sight. Yes, the timing of it in the morning commute, but it seems like, and Stephen, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like everything has been pretty good considering we've had some fairly heavy rain.
Mike, I was actually just on the phone with our friends at TransGuide a few minutes ago. Although we are seeing some issues out there, it's nothing major that we've actually are really concerned about. Obviously, we want people to get to where they need to be on time, safely, and we always hope everyone's okay anytime an incident is reported. But this is a crash off 281 southbound at Bitters Road. The roads are wet, but thankfully for the most part, drivers have been taking it easy. They've been taking it slow, which is why we've been seeing a lot of those slowdowns on our map. I want to get you to one incident that looks like it could be pretty bad over here, though, off of US 90. This is what I called our friends at TransGuide about, because you notice that is an overturned vehicle off in the grass there. We do have first responders. We also have paramedics out there. Traffic is moving pretty slow, and that's in the eastbound lane. So let's just get you to the map, show you where it's pinpointed, not far from 1604. A lot of red that we're also starting to see that's building up out there. You have to take it slow. We're really not seeing any rain out in that direction from the TransGuide camera, but the roads, what we're seeing, are still wet. Let's take you to that incident that we showed you earlier on TransGuide. 281 southbound at Bitters Road is where that crash has also been reported, causing some issues for anyone that is traveling south right now. So just be prepared for those slowdowns. Did have a crash here at I-10 eastbound at Hebner Road as well, but my friends at TransGuide did say that is already cleared out. So when you notice those slowdowns, that could be because people are slowing down. Right now, those are the only two crashes that are reported, which is good. Commute looks like it could be dwindling down as well, but this is is one of those areas that we know a lot of people travel through, US 90, talk about it every morning. So just be prepared for that, and we hope everyone's doing okay out there. But thankfully, for the most part, guys, it's not been too bad on the traffic front, but we want people to drive safely, of course.
Yeah, considering all of this is Storm Chaser right now, and I believe, and if somebody can talk to me in my ear as far as the exact look, that looks like one of the road signs there on 37, and you can see it's still coming down pretty good, but got a murky condition. There's also a little bit of fog that's been reported around the area, and you can kind of see that because the street lights along the barrier wall in the middle, a little hard to see there off in the distance. Obviously, roads are wet. Back to as far as who has seen rain. Yeah, most everybody has. I want to switch radars very quickly and head over to the radar over there in Del Rio. And yeah, most everybody off to the west has seen some rain, but there are a couple of spots in portions of Valverde County which didn't see really a heck of a lot of it. And just a reminder, we've been talking about how it is going to stay very windy throughout the day today, and there is a wind advisory for our western counties out here around Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Rock Springs. Does not include Uvalde, but that's in effect up until 7 o'clock. And even after that, it is going to stay very breezy in through the nighttime hours as well as tomorrow. Yes, sir.
I'll take it. We are now over 4/10 of an inch at the airport.
4/10 of an inch at the, and that's, I know you keep track of this in some of your graphics.
Yes.
That's one of the heavier daily rainfall amounts we've had in
since September or August, I believe. But it's still been over a year since we've had at least 2 inches at the airport, which is astounding.
That's just amazing. 2 inches, and that's not even in, as Justin has always pointed out, just in a calendar day, but even just in an event, right?
In a rain event, yeah. Even if it spanned 2 days, we still have not yet to have an event where we've seen over 2 inches of rain at the airport within the year, which is pretty incredible.
This obviously was some good rain. Like we said, 4/10 of an inch. Most everybody saw a little bit. Maybe some of it's just enough to kind of keep the dust down in your backyard. Other was slightly better than that. As of right now, up there around Austin, this is one of the spots with some of the very heavy rain, and that's just right up 35. If you're planning on traveling on 35, you may want to wait a little bit, because all the way from San Marcos up toward Kyle into Austin, we've got some of these heavier downpours around here. And then further on down to the south in eastern and southeastern Bexar County, the very, very heavy rain. And then, of course, for folks right around Floresville, we've got, and Poth, you're about to see some of this very heavy rain work its way on in here as well. Let me just put this into motion so you can see how it's moving across very quickly. It's going to come down very hard, very heavy, but then, aerial coverage wise, it's not that wide, so it's not going to last forever. Fortunately, unfortunately, Pleasanton, you've been getting some of this heavier rain, as well as Jourdanton. And just want to give you a heads up, the control room just told me we're about 2 minutes away from our cut-in in Good Morning America, so we'll have to stop this there in just a couple of moments. Rain continues into, like I said, going in toward Poth. And as far as, let me shut that off and turn this on. And this line of rain, the whole line is working its way pretty much to the east. And we've been going with roughly 30 miles per hour or so as far as the movement. So Karnes City, you should be seeing this just after 9 o'clock. Now that was that line right there. Obviously there's a couple of showers out ahead of that, but this is the general trek of this, and Falls City in just about the next, say, 15 minutes or so with the rain moving on in here. It's been a great rain event. The timing of this with the computer models was just about exactly right on. And in behind it, we've been talking about how we are going to be seeing a fantastic weekend. It is nice to start off the weekend like this on a Friday. A little bit of rain, sure, it makes the commute a little tough, but later on, later on this afternoon, it is going to be very nice out there. Good looking weekend. Temperatures will be staying in the low mid 70s tomorrow. We'll have some clouds starting off in the morning, and we're going to be in the low 50s. So we'll actually be slightly below normal for low temperatures both tomorrow morning as well as on Sunday morning. We make it up into the low mid 70s, again, slightly below monthly or daily averages for this time of the year. Sunday up just a little bit, but still another very nice weekend. If you want to head on out to the pumpkin patch this weekend, it's going to be fantastic for that. And it is also going to be very good as far as trick-or-treating weather on Monday. We will have a few more clouds around here. Our next chance of rain comes in here by about Tuesday. We're going to pause here for our cut-in on Good Morning America. So hang on one second.
Time check is 8:27. Big problem here along US 90 and those eastbound lanes, just not good. Let's get a wide look at TransGuide. You can see that overturned vehicle right there under the overpass, fire truck right next to it. So what we're able to make out from this particular shot is it does look like one lane of traffic is getting by, but we do have paramedics out there. Tow truck also on the scene. We're hoping everyone's doing okay, but traffic has seen some delays already, and that's one of those busy spots. So KSAT has marked that as a high-level crash, meaning that it could be there for a little while. Notice those eastbound lanes along US 90 are slowing down right there at 1604. Be prepared for that. But back here in town, we take a quick jump and show you what we're looking at here along 281 southbound. Another busy spot has also seen some delays there due to a crash. Notice that slow-moving traffic is really what we're spotting. This crash also, I need to make sure we clear this off of I-10 eastbound at Huebner Road, but we are still seeing a little bit of a slowdown there. And that's really what we're noticing there, Mike. Just a lot of those slowdowns in and around the Alamo City, but thankfully the traffic hasn't been too bad.
Thank you very much, sir. And here's a look at live cam right now. And wow, this picture, I mean, it has almost cleared out. Obviously, you can see the road is still very wet there on 410, but it appears that most of the rain has stopped right there. And this is what it looks like on live radar as of right now. This line of showers and a few thunderstorms, especially down here around Atascosa County, continue to work their way off to the east. And as far as the severe threat now, this has just been changed, and this is now off to the east, pretty much along 35 and east of there. But better chance of anything severe would be in our extreme eastern counties, and this is going to be as things continue to move along. But this rain will, we're actually starting to see some clear skies out to the west. It is going to be very windy today. Winds have already started to pick up. We're seeing some wind gusts 35 miles per hour in some of our western counties. That's going to be the situation throughout the afternoon. High temperature today of 78. Okay, we are back, folks. And again, the rain continues to work its way off to the east. I noticed you had a couple of, is that in the rotation here?
Let me add the wind gusts. Let me add those in.
So we're going to kind of play with the our graphics here for a second. So, Stephen.
Yeah.
Since I've got, oh, there we go. Well, first of all, here's a nice shot of live cam. And yeah, that's over there at 410 and 10, looking down to the southwest. Still some pretty ugly looking clouds, but a couple of drops on the camera lens. Everything is kind of cleared out a little bit. What's going on the still got that problem over there?
Yeah,
90 at
I think it's going to be here for a while, Mike. I'm just getting our camera back up here, and you can see US 90 at loop 1604. It's just our friends at TransGuide. They've been pretty busy, so we want to give them a big thank you as well. Of course, those to those first responders who have been pretty busy as well throughout the morning. Not a lot of issues, though. I mean, we have seen some slowdowns. We've spotted some stalls, but really, this is going to be the big topic, at least for right now. We do have that overturned vehicle right under the overpass there. Notice also that we do have some of those first responders that are out of the vehicle inspecting that area. So we have to make sure that we give them plenty of room because the roads are wet. So take it slow. And that's really what we have been seeing. A lot of people have been taking it pretty slow out there. But notice that there are some of that the buildup that's taking place. And that's right there reflected on our map along US 90 eastbound at loop 1604. As you're approaching the Alamo City, be prepared for that because one lane of traffic is getting by, which is obviously causing a ripple effect for anyone a little bit further back, which is what you saw on the TransGuide camera, delays. Let's take you back up here to 281 where we did have this crash that was reported. Notice that there was still a buildup. We have flashing lights out there, and we'll get to that TransGuide camera shot in just a moment. But northbound lanes, I noticed that they're also seeing a little bit of a buildup there as well. We're going to have to watch that area closely throughout the morning. It does look like right now that this may be off in the shoulder lane. So we're going to go ahead and just jump to that TransGuide camera if we can and just take a look there because that is where we have that crash along 281 southbound. First responders out there. It looks like a KSAT Hero truck as well. But although the rain looks like it's kind of dwindled down on some of these areas from TransGuide, obviously the roads are still wet, Justin.
Yeah, they are. And the rain general, you're right, is moving out of San Antonio. And let me just say real quick, if you opened up your KSAT weather app or your KSAT app and you're seeing us going live on your phone or wherever your tablet, wherever you're watching. This is what we call an appcast. We're able to do this. We're able to come to you live on your phone, on your devices, and we can bring you the latest. And that's what we've been doing all morning, because this activity hasn't been severe, but we know you want the latest as far as showers and storms go. And that's why we're here, and that's what we're doing. We're also streaming on KSAT Plus, by the way. So technology, you got to love it. We're here for you. And looking at the wind gusts right now, we've got some big wind gusts out west. And this is another facet of the forecast we're going to be watching today. So you got these gusts around 35, maybe even 40 miles per hour, places like Carrizo Springs, Uvalde, and Del Rio. It is clear out there. And one thing we know, not much rain fell there overnight. So then herein lies the issue. We've got fire danger, a pretty high fire danger for our western counties today. And really even in San Antonio, we got some rain, but it may not be enough. I mean, it probably will be, at least for the first half of the day. But we're going to be in a fire danger through the foreseeable future if we get gusty winds, because it has been a dry year just in general. So we'll go back to the radar. And if you're watching us from San Antonio, look, the issues have pretty much passed you by. So we understand if you got to get to work and move along. But we want to keep those folks that are watching us from Floresville, Wilson County, and Karnes County, we want to keep you informed on these storms. Again, not severe, but just bringing some heavy rain. And this continues to move through Floresville. You've got about another, I'd say, 20 minutes or so of rainfall before the back edge of this works through. Same story for Poth. You just got the heavy rain. Give it another 20, 30 minutes, and you'll be done. This is hitting pretty quick, and that's why the rainfall totals aren't huge. Pleasanton, Jordan, the rain has moved out for you. And now this is working its way towards Karnes City and Kennedy. And we timed that out a little bit earlier. So around 9 o'clock or so, Karnes City is going to be dealing with some rain. You'll get some showers and storms out ahead of it, and then the main line coming through with some lightning strikes, lightning and thunder. That's really all we've seen this morning. It's been rain, lightning, and thunder. No reports of hail. We've had maybe some wind gusts, 30, 40 miles per hour, but even that hasn't been a huge issue. And that's fine. We'll take just the rain. As we mentioned, the airport now picking up over 4/10 of an inch of rain, which is not great, but it is what it is. Seguin, the rain is coming in around your area now. And we'll zoom in a little bit closer on the city of Seguin. We haven't talked a lot about Seguin this morning, but you are starting to get rain now. And some of it heavy, some heavier pockets, especially on the south side there. And then right around Seguin High School, the rain is beginning to kick in. Moderate to heavy rain, I'd say. And then this will work its way up towards I-10. So anyone traveling along I-10 is going to get some pretty heavy rain. McQueenie, the rain is moving in around your neck of the woods as we speak. And then we mentioned New Braunfels earlier, an area that has really kind of missed out on a lot of the rain this year. Yeah, you're getting a pretty good downpour. Love to see this. Right around New Braunfels High School, the rain is coming down hard, green. You're getting some good rain. And we'll pause the radar. And the radar, by the way, the radar site is right around New Braunfels. That's why it kind of looks distorted right here, because it's right up on the radar. But we do know the rain is coming down pretty good, at a pretty good rate. And we can look at the rainfall rate there right around New Braunfels and get you a better idea of just how heavy some of the rain is. Anywhere from 5 to 6 inches, and that's been pretty much the average this morning. So you can pick up a quick half an inch out of rain like that, maybe even an inch in isolated spots, which we will absolutely take. And I know everyone in New Braunfels is saying the same thing at this point, because it has been so terribly dry this year. And you go up I-35, San Marcos getting some heavy rain. Cane Lake, the rain is done. So this is starting to cross over I-35. And if you have travel plans today, and a lot of people, it's the weekend, maybe you're heading up towards Dallas, Fort Worth. Yeah, I-35 is wet all the way up to basically Waco. But it'll dry out pretty quickly. You got winds behind this. There is some light rain, so another couple of hours, the roads will still be wet. But by the afternoon, with some gusty winds behind this, the roads will dry out really quickly. And so it should be fine. And then we have to worry about Friday Night Football tonight. No rain. No rain here in San Antonio, but it will be windy. And yeah, Mike, if you want to go ahead and pull that up.
Yeah. Let me just click back here. We've got a couple of pictures. You know, the KSAT Connect pictures are fantastic, and this is what we love, is when you send these shots in. This one was from Bulverde, and as you can see, that's just over 2 inches of rain, which is absolutely fantastic. But then you go over to the west side, and one of our regular viewers, Yvonne, is there anything in that rain gauge?
Oh, yeah, that's kind of the sentiment, right? Yeah, you know, there's a little something there. Maybe a 1/10 of an inch. Was that a 1/4 of an inch? That rain gauge, I'm not sure, but not exactly what you would hope for.
No. And this is what it looked like on the roads. Please, please, please don't take any pictures when you're driving, of course, especially with wet road conditions like this. But you can see how the water, it was coming down hard. I mean, that looks like there may be an inch of water or, running across the road right there.
Yeah, it gets a little heavy. And we know the spots, those curbs where the water kind of piles up, especially if the drains aren't clear. And, this is sort of a random thought, but a lot of our drains, when it's so dry, they get filled up with trash. And then when we get these heavy rains, the rain can't feed into these drains, and then you start to get some of these places on the roads, especially these side roads like this one, where the rain kind of piles up, and then you're scooting along there on the road, and you hit one of those big puddles, and man, you can hydroplane really easily. So be careful out there. And yes, these pictures help tell the story. KSAT Connect is a great tool that we have where we can allow you guys at home to help us see what's going on out there and give us some ground truth, as we like to say, to what we're seeing on the radar.
Speaking of which, radar is coming right back up.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. And as I said, San Antonio, the threat's ended. The rain is done. We have one little cell here on the far northwest side, a few showers working through downtown, and then a little bit of activity right around the Burning area, which Bernie's probably going to be one spot where we see a pretty decent rainfall total, because not only did they get the initial line, but they've had some of these showers kind of lingering behind. But around Helotes, right along Highway 16 there, which is pretty windy, through this area, and you've got some pretty heavy rain. So this is another area where you want to take it slow. But there's still some rain coming down there, but that's kind of the last of it, right? So once this moves out, the rain is over with for most of Bexar County. Boulevardy's still getting some rain. We know that the totals were really good up there. And then we still have some of these. Now see, that happens every now and then. I zoomed in way too far. Let's try this again. You see some of the showers. And you know what, guys? Can you help me out? We've flipped the radar here. Hey, you know what? I got it.
You got it?
I've done this once or twice. See it? No, that'll make you dizzy. That'll confuse you. So bear with me here. But we have some of the showers that are still working to downtown. These are light, but they still can cause some issues on the roadways, as Stephen has been reporting all morning. And Lavernia, Sutherland Springs, Stockdale, Nixon, Smiley, New Berlin, these areas now getting on some heavy rain. And I'll say the line has kind of expanded in size a little bit, not as far as intensity, but just in size. So places like Lavernia, Sutherland Springs, Stockdale, Floresville are probably going to get a little more rain than we did here in San Antonio. I'm not saying we're jealous, but we're jealous. And they're around Seguin too. Again, still some rain coming in at this hour. And this will continue to work down Highway 87. So yeah, it's not quite to Smiley yet, Nixon Smiley, but it will be here within the hour. Stockdale, the rain is coming down good. You've got some showers and storms, and I know there's some farmland in this area that certainly could use the rain. Sutherland Springs, Lavernia, as we said, and this is probably kind of the heaviest of the storm right there, which is mainly rural areas here. Did it again. We went in too far. Man, I was doing so good earlier. Now this thing's kind of getting
Don't you love computers?
You just go back home again. We'll try this all over again. It's spinning on me and everything. Yes, so right here on the Wilson-Guadalupe County line is where the rain's kind of at its heaviest at this hour. And this is really kind of a rural area, but they're along FM 2772. Rain's coming down, and then this will work towards State Highway 123 and move towards kind of the Union area there and parts of Wilson County. And as I said, along Highway 87. So I think we're going to start to wind things down here soon. We have one more on-air cut-in coming up about 8:50ish, right, Mike?
It's going to be a quick little short one. Then we've got obviously the 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock show. So I'll be there with you to give you updates on this. But the threat for San Antonio winding down, it's pretty much done. We'll take a look at the rainfall, the estimated rainfall. So these aren't for sure numbers, but this is what the radar is estimating as far as rainfall goes. And about 7/10 of an inch there, western Wilson County, southern Bexar County, close to an inch. We know we estimated the airport about 4/10. Let's see how that has. This is estimated about 2/10, maybe a little bit off. And then the southwest side there, close to an inch. We got the picture in from Yvonne. That's on the west side, correct, near SeaWorld?
Yes.
So about 2/10 of an inch. That's pretty close to what we're seeing as far as ground truth is concerned. And then Frio County, 1.3. Southern parts of Medina County, about 1/2 inch. So as we said yesterday, most of us quarter, half an inch, some up to an inch, and I think that pretty much verified. I'd say that's probably about right. You had to get underneath one of these heavier storms to get the bigger totals, and that is the lottery we play with storms around here. You gotta get lucky sometimes. But we're gonna toss it back to Mike now for a cut.
Yeah, got a quick cut and coming up here in just a moment. So. Good morning, everyone. Well, here's a look at live cam over there, 410 at I-10. As you can see, still lots of cloudy skies around the area, but we have got rain continuing to end, works its way off to the east, breezy and clearing this afternoon. And that's called trying to fit in a lot of information in 13 seconds. So
I'd say you did pretty well, Mike.
Thank you very much. Here's a storm chaser, and it's been going up 37. I think we're on 37 still. Yes. Yeah, we're still on 37, and as you can see, the roads are still wet. Maybe that's a little bit of spray left over from some of the cars out ahead, but even a couple little holes in the clouds there. So, you know, we've been talking about how this was a nice rain event. Overall, most everybody did see some rain. I want to go back to the rainfall estimates here over the past 12 hours just to show you that, yeah, goodly amounts, not too bad. Inch, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch of rain. That's pretty much what was forecast around the area. The majority is going to be well up there to the north. A lot of folks, and like Justin was talking about, a lot of farmland down here to the south. And yeah, you're getting some decent rain. Obviously, it's not going to make up for what we're lacking in the year, but this has been just fantastic to see. And given the fact, like we were talking about, how most everybody has seen something in the way of rain. Maybe not a heck of a lot out in portions of the hill country, but again, at least it was something. Further on out to the west in the hill country, it hasn't been really a lot. And with the wind starting to pick up, we've already started to see some wind gusts close to 30, 35 miles per hour out around Del Rio. Carrizo Springs has some pretty good wind gusts as of right now. And so there is a wind advisory. And then also nothing formally posted as far as the fire danger, but the Weather Service did send out a statement regarding the higher fire danger today, and that's going to be the situation tomorrow as well, because we have windy conditions still tomorrow, and we'll still have this very dry air in place. All the humidity that was around here this morning got swept away as this front worked its way on through here. So yes, it was beautiful to see. We do still have some more rain. This line is continuing to work its way off to the east, and this has been, and as you saw with the rainfall totals from portions of Frio, southern Medina County, parts of Uvalde County, it's been this cell and this portion of the line, and as you can see, the line is, well, it's still there, but it is definitely kind of muddled a little bit in portions of Wilson County and up towards Seguin. But this area right here, right in toward just to the south of Floresville, it almost in toward Poth, and then down into southeastern Atascosa County, some fairly decent rain as far as rainfall rates as of right now. Now, this, again, we have to emphasize, doesn't mean you'll be getting this much rain, but this is the area where we've been seeing, you know, rainfall rates right here, anywhere about 7.5 inches per hour. Further on down from that, 7, and this whole line, you know, 7, almost 8 inches per hour. If it sat there for an hour, you'd get 8 inches of rain. But these things have been moving along at about 30, 35, close to 40 miles per hour. So you don't get that much rain. But that's why you can see 1/10 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch of rain. Bernie Stage, as a matter of fact, picked up about 1/10 of an inch of rain, or no, it was 1/4 of an inch of rain, wasn't it, Justin? Yeah, in roughly 15, 20 minutes. That's coming down pretty good, and that's going to be the situation with some of these cells as well. So everything will continue to work its way to the east and then continue to clear out. And not only do we have some pretty good wind gusts off to the east, but we are still seeing or I should say we are seeing a lot of clear skies being reported out in some of our western counties as this continues to work its way off to the east. So we'll have a lot more sunshine later on today. Yes, sir.
I was just saying, Mike, I think we can go ahead and start wrapping up here in a second, and we'll get ready for the 9 a.m. and you can join us in the 9 a.m. But I know you'll reiterate this, but I just want to say thank you to all those who are joining us on the app, on KSAT Plus. Stephen, Mia, Mike, great job this morning, and hopefully we kept you informed throughout the morning.
And to you as well, sir. Again, Justin's going to be coming on at 9 o'clock. He'll have a complete wrap-up of all of this. Adam's going to be on later. And, of course, don't forget to watch KSAT 12 News this weekend. Sarah's going to be there in the morning. Of course, Mia Montgomery in the evening. So we're going to wrap this up, but don't forget to stay tuned at 9 o'clock. Have a great, great day and weekend.